up, B Squad? It is me, JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a late review. This is The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, The Reunion, Part 1, you guys. Now, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Part 1, shall we? All right, you guys, so the reunion, we're here, and I like their set. So I've noticed something this season with Beverly Hills, and I noticed it with OCs as well. So they have a more realistic set. I've noticed that, like they have a real backdrop behind them where it looks like the sky, the city. So I was like, okay. Now, before we get into the reunion, we see as the ladies are arriving to the studio, they're getting ready, and we see Erica and Dorit. They're talking, right? So Dorit is talking about the fact that she got a text message from Kyle the day before the reunion. And if you guys were on social media anytime this week, you definitely saw that text message. It was a long ass text message that Kyle had sent to Dorit. And when I saw it, oh, that's a scab. I was looking at that like, what is that? That is a scab. But so when I saw the text message that Kyle sent to Dorit, I read it and I was like, Kyle, like if you felt this way, like, going into this reunion, if you want to smooth things over with Dorit, the day before wouldn't have been the best time to do it, because reading that text message, I was with Dorit. It absolutely was 100% manipulative. You guys can tell me your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below, you guys. So we get on the stage and, Andy introduces himself and, says hello to the ladies. Hi, Kyle. So I'll tell you guys how they're sitting, right? So I'm Andy Cohen. And so this is my right-hand side. You guys know it probably doesn't look like it, but this is my right-hand side. And so to Andy Cohen's right, you have Kyle. Then next to Kyle is Erica. Then next to Erica is Dorit. And then at the end is solid 8.5. And then to Andy's left, you have Sutton, you have Garcelle, and then you have Crystal at the end. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of cool with this seating arrangement. Kind of cool with it. When you think about it, they didn't even have a friend of this season. But, Andy, like I said, he said his pleasantries. And so Andy went on to talk to Kyle, because if you guys watched, I think it was the week before the reunion filmed, when Erica was on Watch What Happens Live, and they were talking about what to expect coming from the reunion. And, Erica's talking about the fact that she's basically been eviscerated at the last few reunions. So she's just hoping that, other people are held to that same standard, i.e. Kyle, right? So Andy asked Kyle, how did she feel about that? And Kyle was like, her feelings were hurt at first, but then she thought about it, and she didn't think that Erica came with any bad, ill intention. I was like, is that what you thought? And I was like, you know what? Okay, so she didn't take it personally. Now, on the flip side, Dorit, however, felt like, she said, well, I heard what Kyle just said, and Kyle said something about Dorit exaggerating their friendship, right? And Dorit says that she felt the same way that Kyle, she felt how Kyle felt. And so Kyle says that, well, Dorit, you did exaggerate the friendship, because how many times have we hung out outside of camera? I was like, ooh. So the Fox Force 5 was what, an alliance on the show? Because it was you, Dorit, Erica, Renna, and Teddy. All 5 of y'all were part of the Fox Force 5. So was that fake? Just asking the questions, right? So Kyle said that she felt the way about Dorit asking about her marriage on camera and saying the things that she felt like, Morgan was replacing her in Kyle's life. Kyle felt that by Dorit saying that was going to make the story bigger in the media. And I typically don't agree. You guys know I don't typically agree with Dorit, but I had to agree with Dorit in this particular moment. It's like, Kyle, people were already saying things about you in the media. So what are you talking about, right? Like, what are you talking about? Now, we'll pause here and we'll move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, we moved on to Garcelle, right? So we talked about Garcelle and what she's had going on this season. And, she talked about the boys and, you know, she talked about the reason why she joined the show because, Andy's talking about how she's working. And she's like, when I took on reality TV, it was for me to be at home more with the boys. And so Andy also then asked her about the situation with Jack saying that he knew that his father had cheated on Garcelle. He said, did Mike ever have a conversation with him? And she said, no, Mike never had the conversation with him or I. And so she says she had to talk to the boys about feelings, sex, because if she doesn't do it, no one else will do it, right? And so then we also brought up, Garcelle in Vegas and the things of, when she was talking to the ladies about how she doesn't feel safe with her kids around them. And so Dorit chimes in. And the issue that I have with Dorit is Dorit doesn't listen. Like, that's the problem with Dorit. Because Garcelle didn't single anybody out. And like Garcelle said, whenever you say something like that and somebody has a reaction to it, then, they I forgot what she said, but it's like a hit dog holler, right? Essentially. And so we went back and forth about that, right? And because Garcelle was like, I felt that way because I see my friends on camera laughing about my son getting cussed out, which I'm still on Garcelle's side with that, right? So then we move on to when Garcelle said about the unconscious Karen comment with Dorit, right? She doesn't feel that Dorit is a racist. She just feels that Dorit is unaware, which she is. And it's going to come up more than once, right? So Garcelle feels that the word that she used in attack was just a little extreme, a little far-fetched, over, just a word that she shouldn't have used. And I know people have their, feelings. Oh, all the housewives say they attack each other. Okay. But Dorit was not being attacked by Garcelle, is what people are trying to, I think what Garcelle was trying to say and what some people have been trying to say, right? So then Solid 8.5, she decides that she wants to step in, right? And she's talking about when they were at Sutton's store and the fact that when Sutton was telling Solid 8.5 that she was yelling at her, she says, I wasn't yelling at you. But I was like, but you apologized to Sutton for yelling at her. And here's the thing, because people are saying on social media, well, Garcelle didn't stand up for her. Why does Garcelle have to be the gatekeeper for her? She's a human. She's a black woman. She can speak up for herself. The same way she came at Crystal, the same way she came at Sutton. You could have said, you know what, Sutton, I'm not yelling at you. That is a microaggression that you're using. You're paying me off as an angry black woman, and I don't appreciate that. She could have said that. And yes, Dorit did chime in and say that she's not yelling. But that's neither, like, I was just like, so why does Garcelle have to be the gatekeeper for you? Girl, shut up. So then, with Dorit, we're still talking about the whole angry, the whole attack comment, right? And Garcelle was talking about the fact that, she says that Dorit is in a bubble. And Dorit did double down on social media when she said she put it on Instagram. Then she came back and said the only bubble that she is like, girl, you did it once and now you're coming back again. Like, just shut up. My God, I just want her to be quiet. So then after that, we just moved on, had some little lighthearted fun. We talked about Sutton's driver. We talked about Garcelle, how good of a time she had in Vegas at the Magic Mike. We addressed Crystal's comments about Dorit not seeing any real body parts in 10 years. And Dorit's like, outside of my breasts, what do you think is fake? Everything about you, Dorit. We've saw old pictures of your mama. Your face ain't the same face that you had, but okay. If that your face is fake, your accent is fake, everything about Dorit is just about fake. But hey, it is what it is, right? So We also did talk about Kyle potentially dating a woman, and she mentioned some of the things that has happened with she and Teddy, and why people, made accusations that she was with Teddy. But Kyle ultimately says that she said that she would date a woman because she doesn't know what the future holds, and I was like, oh, okay, girlfriend, we think you already dated a woman, but that ain't got nothing to do with us. We'll pause here, you guys, and then we'll move forward. All right, you guys, so the next segment is going to be about solid 8.5. Now, before we do get into it, I do want to extend condolences to her because her mother passed away from lung cancer, so I 100% extend condolences to her. Now, we get into her and how this season was for her. She didn't have a good season. Let's be real. The fans did not necessarily, some of the fans didn't care for her. Let's be real. And she's talking about how she internalized some of the comments. Okay. Now, I know I've never said anything just downright bad about her. I just call her what her husband calls her, 8.5, right? And so what I will say is when she's here at the reunion, her demeanor is just, it's nothing. And it's like, oh, okay. Now, solid 8.5. She says that Crystal was cool off of camera, but when the cameras went up, it was a different Crystal. I was like, I don't see that. I really, truly don't see that, but you guys can tell me if you do, right? Now, Crystal is sitting here because she's also talking about the fact that, Crystal is lying about what she said. I actually believe Crystal, and I'm gonna tell you guys why I believe Crystal. Because if you guys go back to when we were talking about an anesthesiologist versus a nurse anesthetist and her, the organization, they came out and they put up what a nurse anesthetist is as versus an anesthesiologist. I believe she did that, and I believe she said it because most people don't know the difference between the two, and I think that's what happened with solid 8.5. Oh, and also, you guys, her name. Her name is not Anne Marie, it's Anna Marie. So the ladies have been saying her name right. And so, yeah. I also agree with Crystal when she was telling solid 8.5 that she blurs the lines. I absolutely think that's what she was doing. I do believe that's what she was doing. You guys can agree or disagree. It is what it is, right? She also apologized to Sutton because she said watching it back, she hated seeing it on camera. I was like, nah, girl, you hated the backlash, you hated all the backlash. That's what you hated. And now you're backtracking. So then we talked about why Crystal blew up on solid 8.5. And Crystal was like, it's because of the whole eating disorder comment, right? And then Crystal was like, are you gonna apologize for saying that I said that she had an eating disorder? And she said, I didn't say that. And I was like, yes, you did. She's like, nobody said that you had an eating disorder. I was like, ma'am, you're lying. You definitely brought up an eating disorder, and the production definitely played it back in the episode. So I don't understand why she was lying, but it is what it is, right? I also realized that solid 8.5 was a fan. And when I realized she was a fan, it was because of things that she said, right? When she was talking about the fact that Crystal said that Sutton had said something dark in the past seasons, right? When she also mentioned the fact about Crystal's 14 friends. I was like, that means you've been watching this show, sis. Like, you came on as a fan, and no, it ain't. I'm about to say it's cool, but it's not cool. It's not cool to me. So then we talk about Crystal a little bit more, right? And so we talk about the whole educated comment. And Crystal says she didn't say it. You guys, I don't know who you guys believe, and I don't know who I believe, to be honest with you. Now, Crystal said to Dorit, I do stand on that uneducated comment with you because of the child bride comment. She's like, I do stand on it with you. And so she told her what it means. And then Dorit was like, well, they call Priscilla Presley a child bride. And Crystal was like, it has different meanings when it comes to an Asian woman. And she said, you're talking about I was 12 years old when I got married. I was actually 24 years old. And I have a company that's worth over 100 million or something like that. And then it was like the coconut water. She said, yes. I was like, oh, Crystal got a coconut water company. Baby, I just want to know more about Crystal. Like I said, I like Crystal. I know that some people don't like Crystal. I like Crystal. I go up for Crystal. It is what it is, right? And let's pause here, you guys, and go ahead and wrap up part one of the reunion. All right, you guys. So part one of the reunion, we ended with Kyle. So we're talking about Kyle and her grief, right? I, I'm gonna sum it up that she was saying, she has some good days and she has bad days. It just really depends on the day, right? So then we got into this issue with Kyle and Dorit. And I was kind of, no, I wasn't confused. I know what the issue was with Kyle and Dorit. The issue with Kyle and Dorit, it stems from this situation. It stems from last season's reunion when Kyle and Kathy were going back and forth with each other, right? And you guys remember last season that Dorit wanted to chime in, but Kyle told Dorit basically to mind your business, right? And Dorit was like, I got you. So Kyle's whole thing with Dorit is the fact that she's saying, Dorit, you didn't have a relationship. You didn't have a relationship with Kathy, because Dorit said she had her own separate relationship with Kathy, and Kyle was like, you never hung out with her. You didn't, basically saying you didn't know my sister until she came onto this show. And I was like, well, I get what you're saying, Kyle, but damn, is it that deep? I mean, I get it, right? So Kyle also feels like when it comes to Dorit, that she feels Dorit says things to be on the side of the fans. That is something that I definitely will give Kyle. I will give her that. Because I do think that Dorit, what I think happens with Dorit is, I think Dorit looks on social media, on Twitter, aka X, or X, aka Twitter, right? I think Dorit does look on social media, and because if you guys remember, because for the last few seasons, we've said it on social media, Dorit ain't had no storyline, right? Now, I'm not saying that the whole robbery, I've said my piece about the robbery. You guys can feel how you want to feel. I have my feelings. Because like it's going to come up next week, I do find that a robbery is odd, right? So I do think that and like people were saying that they wanted Dorit back from when she got into it with Brenna and stuff. And she's been doing that. She's been coming back, like she has in previous seasons. So I have to say I do agree with Kyle that I do think that Dorit probably does listen to, she says she doesn't, right? And then they brought up what happened at BravoCon. And so when it was a comment that was made about Teddy, right? And I think, so Kyle addressed the question, who else addressed it? Anna Marie, as well as, I believe it was Erica that addressed the comment, right? And so, I don't think Dorit said anything. And I think Kyle felt the way about that as well. So it was like, okay, it is what it is. But like I said, I kind of do agree with Kyle that Dorit does look at social media and does look at what people say and kind of, sways that way sometimes. It just looks that way to me. But that was part one of the reunion, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about part one of the reunion in the comment section below. Also, you guys, let me know who's your best dressed. One thing I will say, because I just saw it before I came on here not too long ago, that the dress that Solid 8.5 has on is the same dress that Charisse wore to the season 7 reunion for Potomac. Solid 8.5 looks better. One thing I will say about Solid 8.5, she's a pretty girl. She's very beautiful. When they showed that picture of her and her mom, I was like, wow, she's very, very pretty. And the fact that her husband calls her 8.5 when she looks better than him, it is what it is, you guys. Oh, so also, you guys, when it comes to the Beverly Hills and the Miami reunions, what I'm going to do is so this is going to be how it's going to be for every Housewives show that I review, and even I think even Married to Medicine. Like, I think their reunion is going to be on Peacock the next day, uncensored. So I'm going to watch the uncensored version, because I have noticed that the uncensored versions, they do, like Beverly Hills' uncensored version, it was extended. So what'll happen with reunions going forward is I'll watch reunions next day. So the videos will be out the next day. And so that's how we're gonna work it. But yeah, you guys, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.